All right, let's pull back the curtain on the web. We're going to decode that invisible conversation that's happening every single time you go online. Yep, we're learning the secret language of the web.
So think about this. You do it dozens, maybe hundreds of times a day, right? You type in a web address, you smack that enter key, and boom, a web page appears. But what actually happens in those few milliseconds? It totally feels like magic, doesn't it? Well, it's not. It's actually a perfectly structured, super fast conversation.
Okay, so every single one of these conversations has two main players. On one side, you've got your browser, Chrome, Safari, whatever you use. We call that the client. Its job is simple. It asks for stuff. And on the other side, that's the website's computer, the server. It's the one holding all the goodies, the pages, the images, all the data, and its whole purpose in life is to listen for those requests and then serve up an answer.
Now, for any conversation to work, both sides have to speak the same language, right? Well, on the web, that language is called HTTP. It stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, but all you really need to know is that it's the official rulebook for how clients and servers talk to each other. And it's all built on two really important ideas.
Okay, so the first rule of HTTP, and this one is a biggie, is that it's stateless. What does that mean? It means the server has the memory of a goldfish. It has absolutely no memory of anything you've asked for before. Every single request you send is treated as a brand new first-time event. So because the server forgets everything instantly, every single request your browser sends has to be totally self-contained. It has to pack everything the server needs to know right into that one message. Now you might think, wow, that sounds kind of inefficient, right? But it's actually the secret sauce that makes the web so incredibly scalable. It means any server in a giant company's network can handle your request, because none of them need to know your history. It's brilliant, really. Asking the right question, HTTP methods. Okay. So the client has to kick off this conversation, but how does it tell the server what it actually wants to do? It can't just be vague. It's got to be super clear about its intentions.
And the way it does that is with something called an HTTP method. The easiest way to think about this, a method is the verb of the request. It's literally the action word. It tells the server, hey, here's what I want you to do. Now, there are a few methods, but the two you're going to run into constantly are get and post. A GET request is by far the most common. It's your browser basically saying, hey, server, I'd like to get that web page, please. Easy enough. A POST request is kind of the opposite. That's your browser saying, hey, I've got some new information for you, and I want to post it on your server. Think about submitting a form or, posting a comment on a blog. That's a post. The message on the envelope, HTTP headers. All right, so a verb is a good start, but it's not enough, right? The request needs more context. It's just like mailing a letter. You wouldn't just scribble deliver on a box and hope for the best. No way. You need an address, a return address, a stamp, maybe even one of those this side up stickers. And this is a fantastic way to think about it. HTTP headers are just like all that information you write on the outside of a parcel. It's the metadata the mail carrier, or in our case, the server, needs to read without ever having to open the box to see what's inside. So yeah. These headers provide all that critical context. They're basically just simple key value pairs of information. They tell the server all sorts of useful stuff, like, hey, this request is coming from the Chrome browser on a Mac, or just so you know, this client can totally handle video files. They can even carry authentication info, like here's the token that proves this user is logged in. Okay, next up, understanding the reply status codes. So the server gets the request. It has the verb, the method, and all the context from the headers. It does its thing, it processes everything, and now it has to reply. And that reply has to be super clear, super concise, and something that every browser on Earth can understand instantly. And how does it do that? With a brilliantly simple tool, a 3-digit number called a status code. Think of this as the universal shorthand of the web. It's the server's immediate, no-nonsense feedback on how that request went down. Now, there are a bunch of these codes, but you can group them into really simple families. If the code starts with a 2, like 200, that's good news. It means success. Everything worked perfectly. That 200, okay, is what we're always hoping to see. If it starts with a 4, though, that's a client error. That means the server is pointing the finger back at you, the browser, saying you messed up. The classic 404 not found is in this family. And if it starts with a 5, well, that's a server error. That's the server raising its hand and saying, whoops, my bad, it's not you, it's me. Okay, let's put it all together now. We've got all the pieces of the puzzle, right? The client,
The server, the method, the headers, the status code. Let's see what a full, successful conversation actually looks like from start to finish.
It's really just a simple 3-step dance. Step 1, your browser sends out its request. Let's say it's a GET request for a page, and it includes all its headers. Step 2, the server gets it, processes it, and finds the page you asked for. And step 3, the server sends its response back. It starts with that beautiful 200 OK status, adds its own headers, and then it sends the actual content of the web page. That's it.
The language of the web, why this matters. Okay, I know some of this might seem a little technical, but trust me, understanding this simple, structured conversation is like learning the basic grammar of the internet. This is the invisible engine that powers literally everything you do online. We're talking social media, online shopping, banking, all of it. And just like any language, it's constantly evolving to get faster and more efficient. So way back, HTTP/1.1 learned how to keep the connection open so you didn't have to start over for every single file. Then came HTTP 2, which was a huge leap. It figured out how to send a bunch of requests all at the same time over that one connection. And now, the latest version, HTTP/3, is built on a totally new foundation to be even faster, especially when you're on a choppy connection like your cell phone data. And here's the real kicker, the big takeaway. This whole stateless client-server model, it's not some obscure niche idea. It is the fundamental architecture for over 90% of the backend systems you interact with every single day. It's not just part of the internet, it is the backbone of the modern internet. You know, once you get a handle on this fundamental dialogue, you really do start to see the digital world differently. The next time a page just snaps into view instantly, you won't just see a web page. You'll see a successful 200 OK. And when you inevitably hit a 404 not found page, you'll know exactly which part of the conversation broke down. So now that you know the web's secret language,